The baby in your belly wants to say something.
During lunch with my mother-in-law and sister's family, my niece pointed at my belly.
Grandma, Grandpa in heaven is angry.
With the mysterious power of my 6-year-old niece's words, my mother-in-law turned pale. What she had been hiding was gradually coming to light. My name is Chloe. I'm 28 years old, married. I work as an office clerk at a small trading company. I reunited with my current husband, Henry, who was a classmate, at a reunion last year, and we swiftly progressed from dating to marriage. I always liked his good upbringing and gentle nature from our school days, so I was happy when he approached me at the reunion. His father ran a well-known company locally, and he was known as a rich kid in elementary school.
Long time no see. You look more mature now.
Long time no see. But isn't it natural to grow up? How have you been? Are you running your father's company now? When I casually asked.
No. My dad passed away 7 years ago, and the company was merged. I'm just a regular employee at another company now.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked so insensitively.
No. It's okay. I'm not cut out for running a company anyway. So, what's Chloe up to these days?
His good upbringing seemed unchanged, and it felt comfortable talking to him. It seems he, the serious type, had secretly liked me, the earnest class representative, back then. We made the next promise on the spot. We, who were starting to think about marriage, didn't take long to decide on each other as life partners. However, there were revelations after we got married, which have become my current source of distress.
Henry, Chloe, I'm coming in.
Early on Saturday morning, my mother-in-law came to our new home unannounced again. Oh, mother-in-law, welcome. I'm sorry it's messy. I greeted her with a forced smile.
It's messy. Even if you're both working, you should clean up properly on your days off.
She frowned. I was planning to clean up soon. I made excuses in my mind.
And your outfit. Chloe, you're a newlywed, so could you dress a bit more stylishly? Henry will be embarrassed. Okay? Wearing cheap clothes makes your whole personality look cheap.
She sighed dramatically. She was dressed up in full makeup and Coach items. Due to the sudden unannounced visit, I was in casual clothes without makeup. Those obvious brand name items are out of fashion now and even look tacky. While cursing silently in my mind, I just smiled and let it pass.
Honestly, Henry is kind, so he may not be able to say what he wants from his wife, but sometimes you have to speak up, you know?
She put her hand on his back.
Mom, I appreciate your concern, but Chloe has her job and is busy.
He said quietly.
Oh, look, even the flowers at the entrance are withering. I'll change the water for you. You can't have wilted flowers on display.
She dashed to the entrance as if she hadn't heard. So, she comes early in the morning on our day off and just keeps making snide remarks. She's eating away at my father-in-law's inheritance and splurging on expensive branded goods. So she's in a good position, isn't she? She doesn't know the struggles of working couples at all.
Oh no, that sounds tough. Doesn't Henry say anything?
Well, he tries to, but he's completely defeated. It seems like he never thought he could win against his mom from the start. He's kind of a pushover for her, after all. I was having coffee at my sister's house in the neighboring town, venting my frustrations.
Chloe, are you angry?
While I was complaining to my sister, My 6-year-old niece Grace came over and sat down. No. I'm not angry. Hey, Grace, want to play a card game? Talking like this in front of a child wasn't good. I turned towards my niece, reflecting on that.
Yay! Let's play poker.
She is sensitive, they say, but Grace has an extraordinary side to her. She's usually just a normal 6-year-old, but sometimes she speaks with a mysterious aura. There have been incidents like this before.
Mom, when we go to the shopping mall, we should take this road. It's dangerous from that side because there might be a car accident.
Ha! What are you saying, Grace? Stop joking around. It's scary.
At first, my sister laughed it off, but Grace's expression was serious, and it didn't seem like she was joking, so she got a little uneasy and decided to take a different route to the shopping mall, just in case. Immediately after, we heard sirens from an ambulance and a police car. Peeking from afar, it seemed there had been a collision between cars. My sister later told me that she shuddered at the thought of what might have happened if they hadn't believed her words and taken their usual route. There was also an incident where Grace told her mom's friend,
Tonight, the house next door seems to be on fire.
When my sister mentioned a previous incident where she predicted a traffic accident, her friend decided to stay at her parents' house that night. And indeed, the neighboring house had chores, and part of her friend's house had burned down. With a few incidents like this, Grace began to be praised by those around her as a girl with mysterious powers. They even received interview requests from the media several times, but my sister and her husband reportedly turned them all down. That's because after predicting something, Grace would lose consciousness and then invariably develop a high fever. If information about Grace were spread by the media, many people might try to exploit her power. When that happened, her body might not hold up. Thinking this way, my sister and her husband were extremely cautious not to publicize Grace's power. They even reminded the mom friend who was saved by Grace not to post about it on the internet.
Yay! I won. It's Grace's turn again.
Grace, who was excitedly playing poker, looked like just an ordinary 6-year-old girl. However, I had nursed her back to health after her predictions, and every time I remembered her suffering, my heart tightened. Whether she had special powers or not, I just wanted this child to grow up healthy and happy. I couldn't help but think that. One day, I was blessed with a long-awaited baby. When I told Henry about it, he was overjoyed.
That's fantastic, Chloe. I'm so happy.
He was teary-eyed with joy. He immediately called his mother to share the news. Seemingly asked to speak to me. When I took the phone,
Congratulations, Chloe. I have something I want to give you, so I'll be visiting soon.
she said with a cheerful voice, and I didn't feel bad about it. It seemed she had just said something nasty to me out of concern for her son. I was sure she would also dote on her grandchild. That's what I thought at the time.
Chloe, I bought this for you. It's a charm from a famous shrine for easy childbirth and organic foods said to be good for pregnant women.
When he wasn't there, my smiling mother-in-law visited and spread out what she had brought to the dining table. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for all this. As I began to say those words, she interrupted.
I got all of this through my connections, so it's a great deal. It's only $200, specially discounted. Normally, it's over $500. It's special, so cheap.
She said with a grin. Huh? Money? even though she brought it without asking. I'm sorry. I can't pay for this. I'll return everything you brought. As I tried to push it back, her face turned bright red.
What are you saying, rude daughter-in-law? I brought gifts to celebrate, you know.
With a loud shout, she left, making a loud noise as she went. Huh? Am I in the wrong here? Is it not wrong to bring unsolicited items and try to sell them? Come to think of it, even the organic food products she brought seemed cheap and suspicious. I decided to search for the product names I remembered online. The website was full of fake-sounding phrases like mystical power. Even incurable diseases are cured instantly. I'm glad I didn't buy anything. Why would she try to sell something like this anyway? Feeling thoroughly suspicious, I told my husband about this incident when he came home.
Ah. My mom just likes healthy foods and stuff.
He didn't seem to take it too seriously. But still, it's scary to have things brought over and sold to you without asking. Can't you talk to her about it nicely, Henry?
Got it. I'll talk to her.
But his tone sounded weak, and it didn't seem like he was being very firm. After he hung up the phone, how did it go? With your mom?
Ah. She said she'll come again next Sunday.
Huh? But next Sunday, we have plans to go to lunch with my sister's family, right?
Yeah. I told her that. But she said she'll come with us.
Huh? What's that about? I sighed at my husband, who couldn't assert himself with his mother. And then, the next Sunday.
Henry, Chloe, good morning. I wonder what we'll eat today.
The cheerful mother-in-law was standing in front of the house, completely different from last time. I didn't even say let's go together. I was feeling fed up. I had been looking forward to a fun lunch with my sister's family, but my mood plummeted with the appearance of my mother-in-law. The restaurant she chose had been selected with consideration for my morning sickness, but...
Well, let's go. Mom, Chloe.
He tried to accommodate both of us. My sister's husband couldn't make it due to a business trip. Maybe he thought it would be easier to talk if his mother was there. We had arranged to meet at a restaurant in a certain hotel. My sister waved when she saw us, but she looked puzzled when she saw my mother-in-law.
Hello. Chloe, thanks for always taking care of us.
My mother-in-law casually accepted my sister's greeting and loudly started looking through the menu.
I've always wanted to come to this restaurant. What should I eat? Maybe I'll have the sirloin steak, roast duck, and let them make me a sushi assortment.
She called over a waiter and started ordering on her own. We were all dumbfounded when...
Your husband works for that famous company, right? So, you can just pay for everything here with his card, right?
My mother-in-law grinned crudely. Wait. Did she plan to make us treat her from the start?
I don't have my husband's card with me.
My sister said, visibly annoyed. Mom. We'll pay for this ourselves. Henry hastily intervened. Oh, come on, my anticipated lunch was ruined. I sighed with my eyes closed. At that moment, my niece Grace, who had been silent until then, suddenly stood up.
What's wrong, Grace? Sit down. That's rude.
Ignoring my sister's words, Grace had a distant look in her eyes as if she were looking somewhere far away. That look. I glanced at my sister. It was a drastic change from her usual innocent expression to a strange, godlike gaze. It was the look she had when she predicted something.
The baby in your tummy has something to say.
Grace pointed to my belly. Grace was looking towards my mother-in-law.
Grandma, Grandpa in heaven is angry. You spent all the important money, didn't you? And you're borrowing money from bad uncles, right?
After saying that, she suddenly collapsed as if all the strength had left her body.
Grace. Are you okay?
My sister hurriedly picked Grace up.
I'll let her rest for a bit.
My sister said and rushed off with Grace in her arms. What just happened? I looked at my mother-in-law, who had turned pale and was trembling violently.
Mom? What's wrong with what the kid said?
My husband, who didn't know about Grace's power, seemed confused about what had happened, but he seemed to feel distrust towards his mother due to her change in attitude.
Well, you know, kids these days make strange jokes. I'll just go to the restroom.
Saying that, my mother-in-law hastily got up from her seat. I was worried about Grace, but I couldn't let my mother-in-law slip away here. A warning bell went off in my head. Henry, could you help my sister? Leaving my sister and niece to Henry, I followed after my mother-in-law. Hey, where are you going? The restroom is that way. I called out from behind her, who was pressing the elevator's down button. Could it be? You're not using up your late husband's inheritance and getting into debt, are you? That child, Grace, has a strange power and has predicted various things before. Come to think of it, something was bothering me. Trying to sell me organic food and wanting to pass the restaurant bill to others. For someone who dresses in luxury brands, she's oddly cheap with money. Could it be?
I couldn't stop buying luxury items with my husband's inheritance, and my fortune dwindled. I tried to cover the loss with investments, but ended up losing big and got into debt.
She spoke with her head bowed.
Chloe, you've relied on me all this time, haven't you? I raised Henry well, so your current wealth is thanks to me. So, lend me some money, okay? I'll make a big profit with this investment this time. Invest in me.
How shameless. Even without Grace's precognition, it's clear she will lose big on this investment too. And then she'll come begging for money again. Just then, Henry arrived.
Grace went home with your sister in a taxi. What's wrong, Mom? Chloe?
I explained the situation briefly, and...
Considering everything I've done for you, it's a small price to pay. Besides, if you...
Don't be ridiculous, Mom. I was just a student back then, and I didn't have the confidence to be a CEO. How much debt are we talking about here?
The amount she mentioned was a digit higher than we expected. We exchanged looks. With a baby on the way, we couldn't shoulder this amount of debt.
Mom, sorry, but you made that debt, and we can't take it on. I'll introduce you to an acquaintance who's a lawyer, so you can consult with them.
He said decisively, which was unusual for him.
That's it. Please don't contact us again.
She was still yelling something, but we left without looking back. Then, we moved and changed our address. Of course, we didn't inform my mother-in-law of the new address. We also set up call blocking on our phones. Afterward, according to what we heard from his relatives, it seems she went around begging for money from relatives and acquaintances, but ended up being estranged from them all. She's saying she doesn't want to declare bankruptcy because there are too many restrictions.
Honestly, She can't forget her lavish lifestyle from when she was well off. It's too naive to think someone will pay her debts.
It seems she is now being chased by debt collectors while living a lonely life in poverty. I gained a newfound respect for Henry, who couldn't say anything to his mother but firmly stated his position. He's starting to realize his role as a father, and he seems to have become a reliable man. And thanks to Grace's prediction at that time, I was grateful that my mother-in-law's debt had come to light. If we had continued to associate with her, we might have ended up burdened with debt without even realizing it. And then, 10 months later, I visited my sister's house with my newborn daughter.
Wow. A baby. So cute.
Grace comes running over.
Grace, you've got a cousin now.
Grace enthusiastically plays with the baby.
How have you been, sis? About Grace's precognition.
I asked her in a low voice.
Well, you know, it hasn't happened recently. It stopped completely when she started elementary school. Seems like that issue with Chloe's mother-in-law was the last straw.
My sister's tone as she spoke was a mix of relief and a little disappointment. I see. But that's a good thing. It's a relief for Grace's health too. Even without special powers, Grace is still Grace.
Yeah. Maybe someday when she grows up, we'll tell her about this. Like, there was something like this that happened in the past.
Saying that we smiled at each other. How did you find this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Well then, let's meet in the next video.